everybody, it's Amy from Northwoods Studio, and I'm so sorry. I've been sick this week and I've lost my voice. I didn't have a video pre-filmed, so I'm going to do my best to film this video, but there may be a little more music than normal in this video. I've been actually really busy this week. I think you can see it. I've been working on an acrylic painting with my golden heavy body paints. I've done a ton of sketching in my sketchbooks, and something that I've been wanting to check out for a really long time, I bought as a late birthday present to myself. These are the most expensive drawing pencils, not color pencils, drawing pencils I've ever bought. So, here's hoping it wasn't a waste. This box was $32. I've wanted them for so long. Everybody talks about them all the time. So we're going to test them this week. I have not tested them yet. I've been waiting. We're going to test them and see if I'm disappointed or not. I also got these two pencils from Mitsubishi, which a lot of people say are dupes for this. Although I think this might be actually dupe for a different pencil the same brand makes, but we'll test those as well. And then I was at Walmart picking up a prescription, and I always walk through the art aisle, and they had, these are new there. They have grumbacher sketchbooks, but these are the grumbacher watercolor paper in and out pages, 140-pound cold pressed, and I'm sure they're not 100% cotton, but it was $8, and I, as you know, have been on a hunt for a good watercolor sketchbook, or a decent watercolor sketchbook. The last one I got was the Moleskine watercolor art journal, and I was not impressed. And it was super expensive, so I thought, hey, it's $8, let's try it. So we're gonna test that as well. I'm pretty sure I did some other stuff too, so that'll all be mixed in here as well. So come on in and let's have a fun mishmash art studio vlog, week in my life kind of video, and hopefully my voice isn't too annoying. Okay, so I have a little tiny mini art haul. I have a little something in here that I've wanted forever and finally bit the bullet and bought. I don't know. I wanted it so bad. Kind of expensive. And then something I already opened. So I want to show you everything and we'll try it all out and see what we think. So the first thing we'll do is open this. It just came, and I'm kind of glad that I got it because I had a hard day yesterday and I needed a little pick-me-up. I got the Blackwing matte pencils, and these are supposed to be like the Rolls Royce of drawing pencils, and I have been doing a ton of sketching lately. I've kind of found a groove. I take my sketchbook into the living room and I sketch at night while my family and I sit around and watch TV or whatever. And I have wanted these for so long. Supposed to be the nicest drawing pencil that you can buy. I tried buying dupes first, and they're not anything special, so we'll try it and see. If this is not special, I'm gonna be so disappointed. It's $32 for a box of 12. So that's why I hadn't bought them yet. You can also get replacement erasers. But there you are, there is the pencil. These are the matte pencil. I don't know what number they are. There's like the 602 and this just says soft blackwing. This is their matte drawing pencil. And you can see it's got like a rectangle eraser. I'm super excited to try these. Super excited. I really hope they don't disappoint me. They were expensive. Okay, the other thing that I got, now I think this might be discontinued. You can't buy these at Blick anymore, and I've wanted to try them for a really long time. They are the Strathmore watercolor travel pad, cold press, 100% cotton, and this was not very much money. I think it was like $12. I do not think you can get these at Blick anymore, and I've heard they're discontinued, which would make me sad. I just recently tried, it was in last week's video, although I don't know when this is gonna go up, but I just recently tried this Strathmore mixed media sketchbook and was blown away. and really, really liked it, and then realized it's 100% cotton, which is probably why I like it. But I am loving this. I've done tons of work in here. You probably saw this. This is the November Patreon video. I don't know if you can even see. I'm gonna do some like watercoloring probably and filling in some of these sketches that I've done. But I love this, and I got this, and we'll try it and see. And then the other thing that I got are the Princeton Velvetouch round brushes in 2, 4, and 10. And you can see them right there. Princeton is fast becoming my favorite brand of paintbrushes. I love the Princeton Select for acrylic and gouache, and acrylic gouache. And my 2 favorite watercolor brushes that are synthetic right now are the Princeton Aqua Elite and the Princeton Neptune, for 2 different reasons. We'll talk about that a little bit here in a minute. But I have not really tried the Velvetouch. I do have this big, I think this is, yeah, the big for like washes, but I wanted to try the rounds and see what I think. One of my watercolor friends swears by them. She said I'll love them more than I love the Aqua Elite and the Neptune, so we'll see. So I'm gonna try not to talk too much. We're gonna jump right in, and we're gonna start with testing the pencils. Another thing I need to do is, I made a wet palette with my golden heavy body paints, and I know the names of the paints, but the tubes are downstairs. And I did a glaze, and I went over the trees in the back here yesterday of this painting, and even though I googled the color to make sure it was transparent, I feel like it wasn't really transparent because it knocked my details back too far. So I am gonna grab the paint tubes, or have one of my kids grab the paint tubes because of my knee, from the basement, and we'll take a look at the golden heavy body paints as well, and just have some fun this week. So like I said, maybe a little more music. Hopefully you can hear me and it's not too bad. The show must go on. The unofficial slogan of YouTube is post or die. So we'll try. We'll keep going. So I've been on a real gouache and watercolor kick lately, and actually I've been filming bits and pieces of videos all week. I have a ton of watercolor and gouache videos coming. I'm not sure. I actually painted, well, I'm not sure what made me get out the acrylics yesterday. I just had a really big urge to work with acrylics, and just in case you don't know, my very first blog post is up already over on my very new revamped website. I'll link the blog post down below, but it's all about keeping the creative spark alive, and I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to talk in depth about things over there that maybe the YouTube algorithm wouldn't love. So one of the things I talked about over there was following what I felt inspired to do that day. And yesterday, I'm halfway through a gouache video, and I didn't feel like working on it. I've been trying to work in my sketchbook every single morning for just drawing. My sketchbooks are just for drawing mostly. I'm trying to, some of this I can't show you, but so yesterday morning I sketched out this design here, and I really wanted to paint it. I had the urge to paint it, and I didn't want to paint it in gouache or watercolor. For some reason I wanted to get out my acrylics. So I did. My favorite acrylics are my golden heavy bodies, and I refined the sketch with the tracing paper, and then I transferred it to here. Her mouth is too small. And like I said in the intro, I knocked back the details on this tree too much with the glaze I did, so I have to check on that today. This isn't done, but I did just want to show it to you. I'm going for like a mystical, I don't know, she kind of reminds me of like a character from Lord of the Rings, but which is a whole nother thing, because I've been wanting to paint like hobbity stuff. The Hobbit is my favorite out of that. More than the Lord of the Rings, the books. I'm not talking about the movies, the books. I've read The Hobbit a bunch of times. I've been wanting to paint hobbity things, and actually, I did, the day before yesterday, I don't know how much you can see, I sketched out this sketch. And I was calling it a bunny Thanksgiving. Hang on, I'll grab the... So when I don't use tracing paper, I'll often take a photo with my iPad, and then it's the same process just on the iPad. It's like, you know, you have an overlay and you know, fix it. So this was the finished drawing, and I had every intention of doing this with gouache yesterday, but I just wasn't feeling it. So part of keeping my creative spark alive, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been making lots and lots more art than I was, is I wake up and I do what I feel like doing that day. So that's what I felt like doing yesterday. So let's check the paints real quick. I had my husband go down last night and bring these up for me so I could check them. I told him to throw any mediums he found in there, down there, in there too. You guys, I'm getting low on paint. I don't know if you remember, but I was talking about paint and what I should spend my, sorry, I'm going to straighten you out there, spend my birthday gift cards on, and I did not buy paint. I did buy paint, but not this paint. And now I'm kind of regretting it. But anyway, let's see. So I was using the Phthalo Blue green shade. So let's see if we can find that in here. The internet said it was transparent. But like I said, I didn't have the tubes. So, I know you're in here. Where are you? Oh my god. Unless you didn't bring up all my golden paints. But there it is. This is... Oh, it says it's transparent. And then I also added in a little quinacridone magenta, which is also transparent. So, I don't know. I'll just have to redo some of the details, I think. I am also thinking I'm going to glaze the woman's face as well. And then maybe put some stars in her hair or fireflies or something. I don't know. Something else that I've noticed has helped me take a huge step forward with my art is I have stopped drawing with references. I like to be super realistic, but a lot of the stuff I'm doing now is no longer super realistic. And so, but I was still like finding references to draw with, and just in the last like 2 weeks, I told myself like I couldn't have references anymore, and I would just have to draw like a match. So like here you can see I've got the guidelines for the face there. Just to keep things straight. And I had them, see, guidelines there. This was, my ferret was running around the living room and I drew her, so that was technically a reference. I was trying to get back to the, and you can vaguely see the guidelines for the face there too. And I'm suddenly enjoying things a whole lot more, except the squirrel looks awful. I guess I don't know what squirrels look like without a reference. It's another rule that I've always followed, you know, and I let go of it this week, or maybe it was last week. It was more like last week. It is very freeing to draw. Like I was like, they're not going to be, you know, they're not going to be realistic bunnies. Why do I need to look at a reference for a bunny? So I didn't. And then, let's see. Ooh, I'm making a mess. And then I've been drawing in both of these as well. So, and then for this, because I was so unhappy with the squirrel, I did get references and draw these with references. And I didn't enjoy it as much. And then I got really, you can see the erase marks, I got really frustrated with the squirrel and like just erased it really hard. And then I went back to drawing without references, and they, you know, they might be a little wonky. But this one I had a reference for, and then all the rest of them I didn't. Like this one, my husband was like, well, it looks more like a wolf than a fox, and he's probably right. But does it matter? I don't know. And then this one without any references, and I didn't plan this one either, so the composition is kind of wonky. If I was going to actually paint this would be one of the ones where I would excuse the fact that this is the face, but I'd probably move the trees in the house. Like, I'd probably move the trees over to here and move the mountain over a little bit and put the house up here if I were going to paint it. because that's, tracing paper is your friend if you want to move things around. I might still come back and watercolor some of these too. Again, this is the November Patreon video. The line work is up, or will be up. It's probably not up yet by the time this video goes up, because my voice just sort of came back this morning and I haven't done the voiceover for it yet. So, this is the Patreon video for November, although there is a little free fun video over there already, so for November. Patreon will be linked down below. It's all $5, all one tier. So, my desk is a mess. I always say you can tell how productive I've been by how messy my desk is. The more mess, the more I've got done. Well, since this sketchbook is here, let's, in fact, I've got this open area right here. Let's test these. Let's get some of these paintbrushes out of the way, and we will test these pencils and see if it was a mistake buying the most expensive pencils I've ever bought, because I could have bought 2 tubes of paint for that. But I have been doing a lot of illustration work with gouache and watercolor and mixed media and pencil. And first of all, graphite is shiny, so it's hard to scan and hard to photograph. And 2, like, here, where did I put those? If I want to do graphite, I usually, this is like the 6th set of these I've gone through. I try to, you should see my little nubs. I try to keep things nice and somewhat aesthetic on my channel, so you guys don't see the nubs. But, so this is what I usually use to do and sketching. Then this is what you're seeing in here. I usually use, I think the HB is the one is that the one that looks the most used? Maybe it's this one. I usually use HB. Yeah, I usually use the HB or the H for sketching. But you know, there's only so dark you can get, and then you know, you have your range of pencils all the way down to an 8B. B is black, H is hard, but you can see, like, that's shiny, and it's not super dark either. And for years I've seen people using the blackwing pencils, and I've wanted them, but they're so expensive I just couldn't do it. In the end, I did get these. These are the blackwing matte. So, I was looking at the 602s, which people swear by as well. These, I think, are supposed to be the knockoffs of the 602s, the blackwing 602s. So they might not be the same as this. This is supposedly really special, so we'll see. But let's, I did sharpen one each of these because I did test these. These are going to be in, I have a birthday gift card haul coming. So there will be, it's going to be in 2 parts. One's Amazon and one's Blick. So this is the Mitsubishi 2B. And it is very, look at how dark that is. That's surprising. This is a 2B compared to an 8B in the Faber-Castell. So the reason why I wanted these is supposedly you can get a bigger range of color with the blackwing pencils than you can with, like, it. So you can have one pencil and having a whole, instead of having a whole set of pencils. These are both very nice. These are very nice. So already, I do think I like these better than maybe that, because I could get a darker range with one pencil. But now, these are the really special ones. I forgot to pre-sharpen one of these, so I'll cut the noise out so it doesn't bother anybody. Okay, moment of truth, guys. Okay, that's nice. It is not, I wouldn't say it's matte. It is a nice pencil, but I would not say it's matte. I would say it's very similar. It is similar to this. Which was, I think, $8 for a box of 12 instead of $32. But I do think this is a little bit darker and it is a little less shiny. So it should, and if I'm not pressing super hard, let's see, compare if we, so I can get a darker color without pressing super hard, and it is a little less shiny than this, but time will tell. But right now I'm thinking 32 is a lot because this is pretty similar. Well, oh well, maybe I'll just come to love them as I use them, but I may not replace them when I use them all. I don't know. They are a touch less shiny, so they may scan a little bit better for illustration work, and they can go darker than the other one, for sure. This is as dark as I can get it, and then let's do this one as dark as we can get it. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. I don't know. I'll link them all down below. I'll link them all down below. They're all pretty close. This one is basically the same as this one, I think, except it has an eraser. It says HB, but it's a Japanese pencil, so they have softer cores than the United States pencil. And this one is the 2B, and this is the one without the eraser is the Mitsubishi 9800, and the one with the eraser is the Mitsubishi 9850, if anybody's interested in those. I mean, this is a really nice pencil to hold, though. It does feel, it's a little bit thicker, and it's, it feels like there's a grip. I'm sure I will love drawing with these, actually. They do, it does feel a little smoother on the paper. This one is more like it than the red one. I'm gonna say right now, this 2B, the 9800, is more like it than the red one. So if you're looking for a dupe, this blackwing is pretty special. It feels like butter on the paper. I'm already changing my mind. I'll update you guys more as I use it, in case I change my mind. But like, this has like a gritty, kind of slippery feel to it. It's still really nice. Let's compare it to the Faber-Castell, just to, let's get out the 2B in here and see how that feels. It feels very similar to the Faber-Castell, so this does have a unique feel to it. Like the feel of it on the paper, I mean. Okay, well, now that I've bored you testing pencils, let's go on to the next thing. I did just sketch this in my sketchbook this morning. I don't know how much of that you can see. So I'm thinking I might transfer this to this gesso board and maybe put you up a little bit higher so you can see clearly, and try to paint this week and see how far we get. Okay, so I left in this part of the process. I've had people asking me about it. I use this same method no matter what kind of painting I'm doing, so it doesn't matter if it's gouache or watercolor or acrylic or oils. When I have a sketch that I like that I want to transfer, whether it's to canvas or gesso board or watercolor paper, this is the way I do it. I see my camera's going in and out of focus there. I think that stops and I fix it here in a second. I think it's because I was putting my head too far in. But anyway, so what I do is I start with my sketch, and before I had an iPad and knew how to do digital art, this was how I would always refine a sketch for a finished project. I would start with a sketch, and then I would put down a layer of tracing paper, and I would just go over it with as many sheets of tracing paper as I needed until I had finished, polished line work. So you can, do this as many times as you want. I have done as many as like 7 or 8 versions, just getting a new piece of new piece of tracing paper. I put the old paper underneath, I put the new piece on top, and I just keep going till the line work is polished looking. The blue paper you see me using there is Ceral transfer paper. It is not graphite, and it's not, I don't know what it is. It doesn't have any wax in it. It's sort of powdery, and it will brush off if you brush it hard enough, and it is also water soluble, so it's good for watercolors or acrylics where you don't want to leave a line behind. It's also good for oil paints. You don't want to use a graphite pencil with oil paint because over the years the graphite will eventually migrate to your top layer of oil paint. So lots of times I'll hand sketch what I'm going to do directly on a canvas if I'm doing oils or acrylics, and if that's the case, I will use a watercolor pencil. I really liked how this turned out, and I'm also not super confident with faces. I don't do a ton of faces, so I liked my original sketch, so I was careful to transfer the lines the way I wanted it. And anytime there's a sketch where I really like the layout and I don't want it to deviate by even an inch, this is how I would transfer that sketch to a canvas or watercolor paper or whatever I'm using. So I mentioned earlier, these are my golden heavy body acrylics. They are my favorite acrylic. I really enjoy the texture, and they also seem like they are a little bit slower drying than other acrylics I've tried. I've tried them all. I've tried budget stuff like Liquitex Basics. I've tried Utrecht. I've tried Winsor Newton Galleria, which, by the way, if you're a beginner acrylic, that's the one that I recommend for beginners. It's a really good quality acrylic that is light fast rated and is good quality without breaking the bank, and also has all the pigments listed on it. The golden heavy bodies are a little bit more expensive, but I feel like so you can thin them with water, or, which is what I usually do, I thin them with the golden satin glazing fluid, which is also a slow drying medium, and I really feel like that was a game changer for me when I started using that as far as acrylics. And golden paints in general are my favorite for acrylics. I also have golden fluid and enjoy them a lot. The golden paints are super highly pigmented, so you really don't need much. Like just a tiny dab of like blue will tint, your white. I go through a lot of white, but other than that, like, it really is, I feel like it's worth your money to buy them because they're such a good quality. They're not frustrating to work with. They're a little bit slower drying, and they stretch really far. Excuse my phone in here. I've been trying to do some, social media posting as well, so I found out I could put my phone there and get some good close-ups. Crazy, I know. It's just trying to you can't just be an artist. You have to have all the different social media platforms. Anyway, I'm trying. So I also had to a couple of times pick it up and look at it straight on. The easiest way to film is obviously from the top down, but that's not the easiest way to paint. So I'm trying to strike a balance between filming for you guys and also being able to see what I'm painting, which is also why my head keeps popping in there, so sorry about that. I normally would film at my easel, but, I hurt my knee and it's been hard to stand for long periods. And I cannot for the life of me, I have a little tabletop easel, but this art room that I have that I'm really lucky to have because it's my own place and I can keep stuff out, and it's way better than working at the dining room table, which is where I first started working, but at the same time, it's a very narrow room, so it's really hard to film from like over my shoulder because there's just not enough room. I think it's only like, it's a long, narrow room. It was somebody who owned our house before us had put there must have been a 4-season porch, and they had finished it and insulated it and made it into a room. So, essentially it's wide enough to sit on your rocking chair and have your coffee in the morning, which is probably what the first owners originally intended. But somebody in who was here before us turned it into a actual room in the house, and I'm really lucky to have it. But it is narrow, so it makes it kind of hard to film over my shoulder. They're just the tripod. There's not enough room for the legs of the tripod to stand up and get a good angle behind me. Anyway, I very much like glazing, and that's what you're going to see me doing here in a second. So I painted these trees, and then I felt like maybe they were a little too bright, so I made a glaze of the phthalo blue green shade and the quinacridone magenta with a little of the satin glazing fluid. I think I made it just a little too thick because it knocked the details back a little bit more than I would like. But to do this, you can either start by, and maybe I should have done this, but you can put a whole layer of the glazing fluid over what you're going to glaze and then put the glaze on top of that, and that'll thin it down even a little bit more. Or you can mix the glazing fluid with just a touch of paint, which is what you see me doing right now. I'm making a glaze, and there you can see me applying it over the tree. And that is a little bit thicker. And in the end, I feel like maybe that was a little too thick, so I ended up coming back in with some more details. Okay, so there was a big jump right there, and that is because my camera battery, I guess, died. At first I thought it wasn't, the charger wasn't plugged in, but the battery is just not working well, so I had to, I have a backup battery, but it wasn't charged, so and I wanted to keep working on my painting. And I've been trying to, I have my blog. I started a blog this month, and the whole first blog post this month was about keeping your creative spark alive, and that'll be linked down below if you want to read it. But I am giving I can't talk today. I'm giving myself permission to go with the creative spark, and I really wanted to paint. I wanted to keep going. I only had like an hour before the kids were going to be home from school, so I gave myself permission to paint her face, even though I couldn't record it for you guys, which, is kind of a bummer, but it is what it is, and it's been hard to figure out how to keep my creativity flowing and not fall into the habit of not wanting to make art when I have to stop, like, to charge a battery so I can film for YouTube, or I'll tell you what I've had a really hard problem with. I will order art supplies, and I have to be able to film them to show you guys, because I do the art hauls, and it is so hard sometimes waiting because I can't always, like, if there's a lot of kids running around the house or whatever, like, I might have to wait to film the unboxing, and that's hard. But that doesn't impact my creativity so much. But if I'm in the flow with painting and my SD card is full or my battery is not charged, I've been giving myself permission to just keep going, because sometimes I will stop a project to charge the battery or clean the SD card, and then I don't want to go back and finish it, which has been a bummer. I like to just keep working till I'm through for the most part. So hopefully that's okay with you guys, but like I said, it's been a balancing act. And I've said this before on my channel, I want to be an artist who has a YouTube channel, not a YouTuber who does art. So that means, for me, the art and my journey as an artist and my creativity and all that, to some extent, has to come before, like, pleasing the YouTube algorithm or whatever. So, but at the same time, I don't want to totally, make my channel bomb because I'm not meeting the needs of the algorithm. And here is another example of that. The mouth on her wasn't right, and so you shouldn't sketch or draw or paint with your image line flat because it distorts your perception and you can end up with a little bit of an elongation in the sketch. And her mouth was not right, and it was partially because it was laying flat. So I had to prop it upright so I could see what I was doing and make her mouth actually right, but at the same time, like I said, I can't film over my shoulder here, and I can't stand at my big easel because I tore my knee up. So, you know, it's been so excuse the fact that that you can't see. And here you can see I took a picture of it. So a good way to check your contrast and values is to take a photo. Sometimes the smaller version of it will help you tell, like, is this right? Does this look right? Are the values and the contrast right? I feel like a cell phone and like taking photos has become an invaluable tool for me as an artist. It really, really helps. It's sort of like looking at it in a mirror like in the old days. Okay, you guys, so there is the finished painting. I'm going to be brave and turn my shop back on, and this will be for sale in the shop. I signed it. I don't know if you can see that. I signed it on the back, too. I've never tried to sell my original art. I really like this painting. I don't know how technically great it is, but there's something about it that I really like. So I'm going to put it up in my shop. If it doesn't sell, that's fine. I'll hang it up here. If you want to check it out, it'll be linked down below. It's kind of scary. Gonna do it anyway. Okay, so I did want to test this quick. I'll just flip to the first page. It's got a very textured surface. I don't know how much of that you can see there. I just grabbed my Daniel Smith paints here, and we will see what we think. I think I'll also grab, let's see how it does with the let that dry for a minute while we test up here. Alright, I'm feeling like I'm in a red kind of mood today. Let's do a little red up here. So messy in here. It's okay. Like I said earlier, it means I've been productive. My battery ran out just as I was putting that down, so I don't even know if you guys saw it, but we'll do it again. That went down surprisingly well. Let's try just... Okay, so my battery charger wasn't plugged in, so I don't know how much charge I have on this. This is like my backup battery. And I don't know if you even caught any of this on screen, but this is surprisingly nice for an $8 sketchbook. I'm gonna compare it to, so this is the one that I've been in love with lately. You probably saw it in my last video. It turns out this is 100% cotton. I was doing some doodles. Let's just compare the two. So the texture of the paper of this is different, but it does go down fairly similarly. Now let's compare it against, I don't know if everybody remembers this one. This is the Moleskine watercolor, and I'm not super impressed with this, but we are going to test it real quick. I don't have a ton of room here to compare it. Okay, so I feel like it goes down, this sketchbook was like it was almost $30. I don't know if it's cotton or not. I don't think it is, because I remember being upset and thinking this isn't cotton. This does have a more noticeable texture, but if you're okay with that, this is by far better than this, the Moleskine one. And this was $8 at Walmart. So let's just, to make sure I know what I'm saying, let's put a wet wash into this leaf and then, whoops, drop some colors in it and see what we think. I'm just gonna mix up some colors here. We've got that red and some permanent orange. And let's do a little yellow too. Okay. All right, first let's do a wet wash. The micron went well on this. I had no issues with that. Let's see how it responds to dropping some colors in. Well, you guys, I think I found my new favorite budget watercolor sketchbook to recommend. $8 at Walmart. You can't go wrong. I wonder if it comes in different sizes. The only thing is I'm not a huge fan of spiral, but the reason it's spiral is so that you can lift things out and then put them back in. So if you wanted, you could lift this out and put it back in. I'm not going to because the paint is wet. Maybe the colors are just a touch less vibrant in here than in like the 100% cotton, but you're going to have that with pretty much any non 100% cotton paper. If you're looking for a line and wash sketchbook or something to practice in, I think this is a great option. You can't go wrong. So just a reminder, if you do want to check out my Patreon, that'll be linked down below. There's only one tier. It's only $5. It's got videos and blog posts and all sorts of behind the scenes stuff. So that'll be down below if you want to check it out. Otherwise, if you haven't hit the like or subscribe button yet or left a comment, I would love it if you did. That would be free, no cost ways for you to help support my channel. And until next time, happy creating.